Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, mein Name ist Tatjana und ich werde diese Präsentation moderieren. Ich möchte Sie warnen. Wir haben Gäste aus Brasilien und unsere Präsentation wird in englischer Sprache. Wir hoffen sehr, dass das keine Unannehmlichkeiten bereitet. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our talk, our presentation about AGENTS.inc. We lined up today an amazing people that will present everything what is related to AI agents. We have Herbert, Manuela, Aislan, myself and Sebastian, big team. Everybody will make their part of the presentation, and we will be happy to take questions and make a very, very lively Q&A afterwards. So first of all, I would like to introduce Herbert. Herbert and I met a long time ago at our past at SAP software company in Baden-Württemberg. Herbert was corporate communication officer at the time. He then moved with the same job to Shell and then moved with the same job to Bayer. So he's a very, very experienced person to talk about communications and was a trusted advisor to us. So we are very, very happy to have him here with us. Big welcome to Herbert.
Tatjana, especially for choosing a picture from the early days when we met. Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here. 20 years communication summit. I have attended quite a few of them, and when I reflected on what all happened in these 20 years, it occurred that it is more or less 20 years ago, precisely 19, that a technical invention, namely Facebook, came into our world of communicators and totally changed the game. And if you're a little bit sarcastic, you could say for the next 19 years, we talked about how to use Facebook and the lookalikes and to analyze and work with influencers, because we had to find ways how to make good use of this for our daily job. That has not really changed, at least the goal or the objective. And only in November last year, another technical innovation surfaced, ChatGPT, which I strongly believe has an even bigger potential to change the way how we communicate, how we work. And you've seen probably lots of presentations today here during the conference that already worked on this and deal with this. And many people are scared or worried or hopeful that the main impact will be on content creation. This is not our topic, and I have a personal view on this. I think only when machines start building something, people appreciate good handwork. So I'm pretty convinced that also for communication, this will continue to be the case. Impactful communication will also in the future be done by good communicators, but filling all the newsletters and all the web pages and creating all the content in between is a bit like the Billy shelves from IKEA that we were happy to use when we were students. But the topic for us today is a different one. And the reason why I see this so important goes back 40 years when I started as an engineer. And engineers are trained and spend a lot of time to standardize their language. They describe a problem, whether it's in Japan or Brazil or Germany, with the same kind of terms. And it's very precise. That's the essence of this. And you have to learn this for a long time. And when I got pulled into communications, initially I was scared. I said, I don't speak the language. I don't know their methodology. How can I do this and manage this? And I was even more surprised to then find out there are no standards. Everybody comes from a different school, they have their own style, their own kind of definition, and you can do the test, go home into your team and ask 5 people to define reputation and how to measure this. And I'm pretty sure you get 5, they all talk about more or less the same, but you get 5 different versions of the truth. And do the same with an engineer about pressure and how to measure this, then you see that something in this discipline is not yet developed. And for a good reason, because this is much more complex than to measure pressure. And I understand the complexity. But another trauma that I suffered was that I was always accompanied by big marketing guys. At that time, it was always men, and some of them were big. but they had big budgets and big teams. And I initially thought, yeah, it's because they are so expensive, what they do, and it costs so much money. Much later, to an extent too late, I realized, no. When they get 10% more budget, they can precisely predict what 10% more will come out of this. And when you take 10% away, they will tell you upfront what 10% in lead generation and other kind of things will be missing. And now ask yourself, when your comms department gets cut by 10%, yes, it's painful, but on the outcome side, will anything go down 10%? Or if you get 10% more, I'm sure you will spend it. But will you produce of anything 10% more? No, it's because we don't know what kind of input leads to what output, because it's so damn complex. And that's where I strongly believe these tools now can make a huge difference. Because with machines who have the capability to listen constantly, 24/7, in all different types of languages around the globe, in social media channels, listening to speeches, reading newspapers, and constantly understanding and aggregating and analyzing, for the first time we have the ability to monitor what's happening out there. And we can, it's a little bit like these biofeedback sensors, where we don't know how to control our heart rate, at least most of us, but with these kind of devices, you can learn certain ways. It's sometimes difficult to describe how you can actually control this. And I strongly believe that these agents, and Sebastian and our friends from Petrobras will show us in a second in real time, give us this kind of instantaneous feedback that allows us to manage these resources in a more impactful, more effective way, and to predict what 10% more input will produce as output. When I look back, for example, when I worked at SAP, and now, of course, everybody, particularly the software companies, are AI players. I mean, the threat or the hope for AI regulation is a big topic. If they are able now to monitor who in Berlin, Brussels, or Washington is getting engaged on this topic that nobody cared about half a year ago, super, super valuable and important. A client of mine was the patent owner for the abortion pill, which in the US is a huge state by state by state political topic. They would love to have this kind of insight in real time. And when I worked for Royal Dutch Shell, I had a big job, no question about, but my stakeholder landscape was rather simple compared to my friends at Petrobras, because we had the Queen at that time and her sister in South Africa and the Prime Minister, but you didn't need artificial intelligence to manage this. But Petrobras is a big oil major who is heavily exposed and influenced by the political environment in Brazil. And so to see what the, you will later give the details, hundreds of politicians think and do and act about this space of energy is crucially important. And when Tatjana and Sebastian, who I know for a long, long time, told me that they won a project at Petrobras, I said, now I'm getting curious. If you can help them, I know how complex the situation is, then we need to talk, because then this solution has the power to help many, many more. And that's why we are here. But to understand it a little bit better, as easy as this technology is to comprehend and understand, we still want to have a little bit of view under the hood and understand what agents really is doing. And for that, I'd like to hand it over to Tatjana, to hand it over to Sebastian.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Sebastian. Sebastian is co-founder of Agents Inc. And Sebastian is the creator of the entire concept of agents. So Sebastian is geek. If he introduces himself, he says, like, I'm responsible for technology. So that's him. Sebastian used to build websites that most of the people didn't yet understand what a website is. Then he was building software for telephones, for phones, that nobody would understand. Why does a telephone need a software? All times. Now, Sebastian builds, at night usually, AI agents. And what is all AI? What is it all about AI agents? I like to say it is your personal assistants that work while you are sleeping. So, but Sebastian, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, so we have been thinking, actually already, we started on this in 2016, thinking about what the future of work will look like. And it's very interesting to witness this over the years, because in the beginning everybody thought we were crazy. And in the meantime, we get calls from companies like, okay, like we can already ask, like, who in the room has already AI agents working for them? And I bet with you that next year, like all your arms will go up, because the speed that we see in changing currently is pretty high. Now let me tell you a little bit what this is and what is happening there. The idea of an agent exists for a very, very long time already in computer science. The dream is there for a long period. And so right now we see this wave of data and AI coming, right? And so that's us. And so the question is, do we survive the wave, or do we surf it, right? Do we find this cool surfboard that we can surf it? Now you can say, oh, I already tried ChatGPT and I typed something in and I had a result. And maybe you were lucky and it was good. But in many, many cases, if you have tried, you've seen that it's not so good, right? And so this is one of the cases of our customers. They use it as a search engine. They just type in companies they look for. And then they get a result that sounds good, but it's wrong. So how can we, but the technology still is very, very powerful. So how can we use this power? Now what we are doing is we see agents as sort of like this middle layer between people and data. And so you can imagine this. So you are the user, you give an agent a task. So we were yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, we were at Axel Springer, and somebody said, but agents, does it mean there you have a team of people? So no. So agents, when we speak about agents, we mean software, okay? So it's all automated. So you give a task to this automated software, which is a little bit software that has a life, yeah? So it works while you sleep. And so then that agent takes data, analyzes it, and it also has friends. So this agent takes your task and you say, oh, I want to know what's happening in the world. And then the agent says, okay, I don't speak Chinese, but I have a colleague that knows Chinese very well, and it knows also where to read the Chinese data sources. So it goes out, reads the Chinese sources, translates it, summarizes it, and brings it back to you. And so the agent then produces a dashboard or reports, PDF, presentations for you, fully automatic, and eventually you can give the agent feedback and say, hey, I like this better than that one, and the agent will constantly learn from your feedback and become better and better and more personal to you over time. So it's a little bit like getting a new employee. In the beginning you have to give a little bit of feedback, but eventually they will become better and better. And so this is something that, like, the idea of agents exists in computer science for a long time. We're actually here in Berlin one of the first, I would say, who really started doing it. And so what we have done in the meantime, and we will show you a little bit more what we have done. Today we're like showcasing 3 agents. One that reads news in 150 countries, knows all the politicians, the leading politicians all over the world. So when the Prime Minister of Japan says something in Japanese, we know it's more important than when somebody else says something in Japanese. Then we have an agent that can analyze the general media landscape and pinpoint stakeholders and say, okay, these are the most important people that are saying something in this space. Who are they? What did they say? How did their opinion change over time? And then finally, there are sometimes people that you don't know that they're important. So we also have an agent that can take all that information and extract the people from it. And now all this, like this one we kind of like already had, but these two especially, they only came to life because we were able to work with Petrobras for over a year. And so I'm now handing it back to Tatjana so she can introduce our colleagues from Rio de Janeiro.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Manuela and Aislan. Manuela, her keyword is digital communication. She works like for 14 years at Petrobras. She knows Petrobras in- und auswendig. So Aislan, he is with Petrobras for 17 yeyears. And his keyword, his position is public relations and data analytics. So Petrobras, Aislan is the person who was managing this project, and he knows best what is it all about. So please, and ladies and gentlemen, they flew all the way from Brazil, 17 hours to Berlin. They are for the first time in Berlin. We have wonderful weather. Basically, we are for the first time in the, at the Communication Congress, because we are nerds. We are not with the people, you know, with ties, but we have a tie. You know, have you seen our logo? It's tie. So please, Aislan first and then Manuela. Thank you.
Oh,
Yes. Sorry.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. And first I want to presentation my company. Petrobras is the largest company in Brazil. And I want to show these numbers. It's not a small company, it's a complex company. But I don't want to show this number, I want to show your relationship. Relationship that we have in the brand, the Petrobras brand, and the Brazilian people. I want to show the Petrobras was created to provide energy for your Brazilian people 70 years ago. This is very important because for the Brazilian, we have not only relationship, commercial relationship, or for business relationship, but sentimental relationship. Petrobras and Brazil, we are together in concept of your culture. Because of that, we have a lot of stakeholders that we need to analyze and understand what thinking about your company. It's not easy, it's very complex when work with relationship. I work with institutional relationship. It's not easy talk about, for example, scientists or media or public authorities. Because of that, we have a lot of information. This number, it's a regular day that we have news analyze this. It's not easy. Because of that, we created a project that the project is why we need to combine all this information and check this with the stakeholders and provide an information in real time, because we are in an oil company and would be a crisis. So we need to analyze in 10 minutes what happened and provide reports or dashboard to support all the information. We analyze the market and we don't find nothing this. Because of that, in Brazil, recently was approved a law that public companies could create a contract with startups. So we opened a challenge and to receive the information, we received to propose this problem, and we select agents to work with us. We worked together for 1 year and closed the process with successful in the first version, and the result is very good for us. Now we are in the process to new contract for more 2 years to provide the solution for us. I want this moment to show in a video that present the concept and the system.
Welcome to AGENTS.inc, where the future of AI agents meets the world of media monitoring, public relations, and stakeholder management. Today, we invite you to explore the capabilities of our innovative AI agents, designed to keep you informed and empowered in this globalized world. Our Global News Radar AI agent simplifies the process. After easy configuration, it scans news in over 150 countries, translating it into your preferred language. It doesn't stop at news articles. It checks social media platforms, including YouTube and LinkedIn, and continuously monitors relevant websites for changes. With its policy function, it identifies political leaders, ensuring important statements are always on your radar. The agent weighs impact and relevance for each piece and delivers results via an interactive dashboard with translated excerpts, saving you the time and effort of deciphering foreign news. Handling vast amounts of data, our Media Seismograph AI agent takes analytics to the next level, particularly in stakeholder analysis. Beyond the capabilities of the News Radar AI agent, this powerful tool aggregates data from thousands of sources in parallel. It tracks influential voices in real time, not just in news articles, but also in dedicated social media accounts and public speeches. It analyzes sentiment and impact on a sentence level. No matter the topic, it identifies the most vocal stakeholders and highlights key media outlets, tracking individual voices over time. It reveals shifting positions and the perception of your messages. In a dynamic environment, new voices can emerge unexpectedly. The AGENTS.inc's stakeholder mapping AI agent employs cutting-edge artificial intelligence and graph databases to automatically identify and connect individuals in all the data, filtering through thousands of online voices to pinpoint those that truly matter. Finally, we understand that while data dashboards are essential for experts, the real goal is informed decision-making and efficient workflow management. That's why we've integrated a comprehensive reporting function. Based on user inputs, it automatically generates executive summaries, ready to be shared with management and throughout your organization. And there you have it, an introduction to AGENTS.inc's AI agents. Our AI agents are revolutionizing decision-making, providing you with actionable insights in real time. Experience the power of AGENTS.inc and unlock the true potential of AI agents. Contact us today and discover a world where information becomes your advantage.
Hi. When we put in all this content together, we thought that, wow, maybe showing the video doesn't make the people think how hard it is to make all this work, because you look at the video, everything is good and everything is working, but it is a result of over 12 months of working, and we would like to share some experience that we had with you. So first of all, prototypes are easy, productive use is hard. We have been developing this for 12 months, and after that we face other kinds of challenges to make it work and make it available for everybody. And soon enough, we want this to be available for all employees in Petrobras that are working with the communication and relationships. And we have other management teams also interested. But what I wanted to share with you is this one: data access matters and can change. You probably know, since you're all from communications, that we have been a lot of change from the past months, like Twitter, everything was open, they had an API, and after that, they switched their business model, and it's super complex to get the data now, and different costs, and even get data from Facebook. That's not easy. So you need to have an open-minded team that can really open to change the strategies and get the output that we need. So when you're working with AI and data, you have to be very strict and focused so you get the results, and that's what we've been trying to do the past months. And the world of AI is developing super fast. So nobody was talking about ChatGPT like a year ago, and now we're talking about this like basic stuff in daily life. And just before we come here, Sebastian was telling me, oh, in the near future, I think you have available the opportunity to voice request things for the agents. So that's one thing, you have to be always updating your systems and the way that you work in. And also I would like to share some findings with you that we already had in this project, although it was a basic development project. We just have found some stakeholders that we not recognized before the project, some people that we didn't know that were so influenced, that matter so much. Now with the use of the system, we can understand it. And also, mapping relationships is something that really matters to us, to know who is influencing whom. Then that's something that now the system is helping us to do, although we have just started.
All right. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you, Manuela. These are the agents that, for the moment being, are existent in our agent store, like an app store. We have an agent store where if you have a problem, you just go on the store and rent a digital employee that will help you to do stuff. The next things that we would like to announce is we have a PR AI readiness assessment together with Karaktero and Herbert. And the second one, you probably know better than I do, the next year there are EU elections. So we plan to help you to monitor everything that your EU colleagues are saying in any channels whatsoever. We would monitor them, we will translate that for you, and we will be able to provide you with insights on that. So these are the agents to come, and that's basically it. And right now, I would like to open for a Q&A, and also we have an online audience, so I will be watching you. All right. Okay, so any questions to our speakers, and maybe the speakers come here best, or how shall we do that? Yeah, all right, so please.
Hi, I'm Lina Dobrova. I work for a company that, like, in the automotive industry. And what I find super interesting in these agents is because there are a lot of other media monitoring tools that give similar output, probably, obviously not the same, but something that does this media monitoring. And I wanted to ask, because I think in the video it also mentioned that it does LinkedIn and YouTube screening. So how does these agents actually gather the data? Are there APIs that, with those platforms that are created, so interfaces with these, like the other tools, or is it like a constant search?
So we don't share all the details of how we do some of these things, because it is sometimes very hard, and you need different approaches. Like, there's many barriers in the world getting it. As you know, there's actually not a LinkedIn API where you can search for LinkedIn articles. There are ways to find them. There's also, like for Facebook, it's the hardest, I would say, yeah? Even getting this data. Now, we have been also like, how do you understand content behind paywalls and so on and so forth? Yeah, it's sometimes really hard, because we also talk to company like the Dow Jones or something. They have a lot of articles, for instance, but they don't allow us to resell it. So we cannot make a license with them and resell it. It's impossible. So our customers would have to have the data so that we can connect to it. That's, by the way, something we sometimes do. Also, Petrobras has their own data. They bring their own data, and then our agent knows, I'm working for Petrobras, so I can use this data. So, as I said, you know, we don't disclose all of how we gather it, but it depends really on the source, on how comprehensive we can do it. And it also is in a way that, you know, for us, the agents, they get a salary. So when they work, they get a little salary. So sometimes we also buy other services or other data sources. So when they work, then they also use that. Now, the beauty of it is that what Tatjana just showed with you with the EU stuff is that we can now adapt very quickly. So you can actually, if you come to our booth, I don't know, later today or tomorrow, I can show you the EU version already. And we did it now in 2 or 3 days, because we have the system already running, yeah? So it's just about feeding in new stakeholders, and then we start monitoring. And then this morning we had a lady from SAP coming by, and she was asking, like, how about AI regulation? And so we just type in AI regulation, and we can tell you who is the most influential politician in Europe talking about AI regulation, like within a few minutes, yeah? So, so this type of stuff, it's very adaptable, and not everybody then has to have this pain or so of going through a 1-year process of getting to it, yeah. For new stuff, yes, but for existing stuff or adaptation, it can be very fast.
Mm-hmm. Any further questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any other question? Yes, please. I have also a mic here. I'm faster.
Hi, I'm Reinhard. I'm working for consultancy FGS Global. I would like to know an example from Petrobras. Like you mentioned, you find new stakeholders you didn't know about before, and you also discover relationships between stakeholders you weren't aware of before. Could you give us an example of like a real-life action that you derived from that? So you discovered some obscure YouTuber speaking about you, and then what did you actually do about it?
Okay. And in this moment, this project is closing the research. So we can start this panel and analyze, and When I talk about, for example, the environment, we are in the process to explore oil and gas in north of Brazil. And we need to looking for scientists that research about geology and oceanography and biology about north of Brazil. And we need to create programs of the relationship with this group. With this system in the agents, for example, we are looking for names of these scientists and connect this. And we discover new names that we don't have in our relationship bank and invite these people to dialogue. It's an example that we worked on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah? Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm already getting the signs that, time over. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to our colleagues and friends from Brazil. Please visit us. We're here for the first time on this Congress. We feel really like, special. New kids on the block. Yes, we're positioned very strategically to the food. So you will find us. We're with the Agents, Agents.inc. Thank you very much.